All right, so uh, you found yourself in a bit of a royal mystery, it seems.
Sounds like it.
You want to claim a title, but there are so many what-ifs swirling around.
Definitely a unique situation.
We've got this really interesting collection of articles about genetic ancestry and identity.
And of course, the whole history of lineage.
Yeah, lineage is a big one.
Huge.
So our mission today is to help you understand what your DNA results actually mean.
Yeah, give you the tools.
Equip you for this journey.
Because it could be exciting,
Yeah, for sure.
but maybe also a bit intimidating.
It's interesting how this personal quest of yours connects to this bigger trend we're seeing.
Oh, definitely.
People wanting to trace their ancestry back to royalty.
It's everywhere.
I mean, look at all these articles.
It's huge.
DNA testing is so popular now.
And these articles make one thing really clear.
What's that?
DNA testing doesn't necessarily offer like a direct path to a royal lineage.
So no instant coronation, just because my DNA shows I'm related to some king from like 1,000 years ago.
Not quite. These articles explain the difference between shared ancestry and direct descent really well.
Okay, so like what's an example of that?
Well, you mentioned your DNA test showed you share the N1C1 haplogroup.
Right.
That means you have a distant common ancestor with the Grand Princes of Kiev.
Okay.
Think of it like a giant family tree branching out over generations.
I'm picturing it.
You're on one branch,
Okay.
they're on another branch, but both coming from the same trunk way back when.
So there's a connection, but it's not exactly like I'm next in line for the throne.
Not necessarily.
Well, if there's a connection, even a distant one, wouldn't that give me some claim to a royal title?
Well,
What's the holdup?
it gets kind of complicated.
How's it?
These articles reveal that
What is it?
unofficial children were really common in royal and noble families throughout history.
Well, wait, are we talking like secret love affairs and hidden lineages?
Pretty much.
This is getting juicy.
It adds a whole other layer to this idea of lineage. These children may not have been officially acknowledged,
Right.
but they still carried their parents' genetic legacy.
Oh, so I could have hidden pathways to royal connections that I haven't even considered.
Exactly.
Wow.
It makes you think.
Okay, so I have distant connections through haplogroups and now the possibility of hidden lineages.
It's a lot to take in.
How can I figure out if any of this actually leads to a legitimate claim?
That's the big question.
And are the sources any help?
Yeah, they offer some insights.
Like what?
The first thing to understand is DNA isn't destiny.
What do you mean?
Just because you share a haplogroup with a famous historical figure,
Let's say Napoleon.
okay, Napoleon.
Doesn't mean I'm going to conquer Europe.
Ah, exactly.
No need to start practicing my royal wave just yet.
Not necessarily.
But hey, a guy can dream.
Of course, but the important thing is
Or what's that?
recognizing the interplay of genetics,
Oh, okay.
environment,
Uh-huh.
and your own choices.
Oh, okay. So like
Your experiences, your upbringing, the decisions you make.
all the...
They all play a huge role in shaping who you are.
Not just my DNA.
Right.
I get it.
It's more complex than just genes.
It's not as simple as it might seem at first glance.
Exactly.
I have to admit, though, the idea of having a royal ancestor is pretty exciting.
I get that it's a cool thought,
It's alluring.
for sure. But one of the articles makes a point.
Exactly.
It's important to think beyond just the trappings of elevation.
Okay, I like that phrasing.
What does it actually mean?
To claim a royal title.
Exactly.
Like, what does that actually entail?
These sources suggest it's not just about prestige.
There's more to it.
It's also about understanding the cultural and historical context,
Okay.
and maybe even assuming a leadership role,
So there's a responsibility that comes with it.
potentially.
That's something I've been grappling with.
In what way?
Well, the idea of having a title is exciting,
Uh-huh.
but I also worry about that responsibility.
I see.
What if I'm not ready for that?
That's a valid concern.
It is.
And it says a lot about you, that you're already thinking about these implications.
I'm trying to be thoughtful about it.
It seems like you're not just chasing a title,
No.
but genuinely considering what it means to connect with your heritage
Right.
and potentially step into a meaningful role.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's a big decision.
Speaking of heritage,
Yes.
I also have Alaskan Native ancestry.
Right.
And one of the articles mentioned a possible link to Narasi,
Oh, wow.
the founder of the later Jin dynasty.
That's incredible.
It was a mind-blowing revelation.
And it adds another layer of intrigue to your journey.
It does.
Your Alaskan Native heritage has these deep historical connections.
Jewelers.
Japan, Mongolia, Siberia.
All potentially intertwined with my quest for a royal title.
Exactly.
So it's not just about one lineage,
No,
but about understanding how all these pieces of my heritage fit together.
That's it.
That brings us to the heart of this whole deep dive.
What's that?
How do I navigate these different threads of my heritage?
It's the big question.
Especially when they intersect with the complexities of royal lineage.
A lot to unpack.
Where do we even begin to unravel all of this?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Well, these sources offer some intriguing strategies.
I'm all ears.
One article talks about combining traditional genealogical research with DNA testing.
Okay, so using both?
Exactly. It's like assembling a puzzle.
I like that.
You have some pieces from your DNA, and then you use historical records to find the missing ones.
To see how they all fit together.
Exactly.
I love that analogy.
So it's not just about the DNA itself.
But about digging into those historical records.
Right.
Birth certificates, marriage licenses, census data.
All that good stuff.
All that stuff.
Yeah, and don't forget church records.
Oh, right. Those are important too.
They can be gold mines of information.
Especially when you're going way back.
Centuries, yeah.
Like becoming a historical detective?
Piecing together clues from all these different sources.
You ready to put on my detective hat?
Let's go sleuthing.
But let's say I do uncover a legitimate claim.
Okay, let's say you do.
I still can't shake this feeling of fear.
What kind of fear?
What if I'm not cut out for that kind of role?
That's completely understandable.
It is.
It's a huge responsibility
Yeah,
to potentially step into a role.
With such historical and cultural weight,
It's a lot to carry.
it's natural to feel some apprehension.
It really is.
I'm not just afraid of the responsibility,
Okay.
but also of what others might think.
What do you mean?
What if people see me as just another person trying to grab a title for fame or fortune?
Oh.
Like just doing this for the wrong reasons.
It's a valid concern.
I think it's important to remember.
What's that?
My motivations are my own.
That's true.
I'm on a journey of self-discovery
You are?
and connecting with my heritage.
Right?
That's something to be proud of,
It is.
regardless
Mhm.
of whether it leads to a royal title.
Absolutely. It's about the journey.
I guess I'm still trying to wrap my head around the whole thing.
I understand.
On one hand, it's exciting.
To imagine having a connection to these historical figures.
Yeah. But on the other hand,
It's daunting.
to think about what it might mean for my life.
That duality is fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
The allure of the past
Hmm.
intertwined with the uncertainty of the present.
I like that.
These articles remind us that lineage isn't just about genetics.
It's about more than that.
It's also about how we choose to carry that legacy forward.
So it's not just about inheriting a title,
No.
about understanding what that title represents,
Right.
the values it embodies,
Yeah.
the responsibilities it entails.
That's a good way to put it.
And that's where my Alaskan Native heritage comes into play as well.
You're right.
We talked about a potential connection to Nurhaci.
The founder of the later Jin dynasty.
Yeah, that opens up a whole other avenue of exploration.
It does.
It's like this incredible tapestry of cultures.
Wow, yeah.
Alaskan Native, potentially Manchurian,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even connections to Japan, Mongolia, Siberia.
It's amazing to think about.
How these seemingly disparate threads could all be woven together.
That's the beauty of ancestry.
What do you mean?
It's a reminder of how interconnected we all are,
I like that.
how history transcends borders and timelines.
It's a big picture view.
And it raises a fascinating question.
What's that?
If you were to claim a royal title connected to one part of your heritage,
Let's say the Manchurian side.
okay, the Manchurian side,
How would you navigate that in relation to your other ancestries?
it's a tough question.
It's something I've been thinking about a lot.
In what way?
It's not about choosing one identity over another,
No.
but about finding a way to honor all the different parts of who I am.
I see, so like
Like a balancing act.
yeah, exactly.
Recognizing that identity is multifaceted,
Mm-hmm.
a tapestry woven from various threads.
Of culture history and personal experience.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
So how do you approach this delicate balance
That's what I'm trying to figure out,
of honoring multiple heritages?
especially if one of them comes with a royal title.
That adds another layer of complexity.
It does.
Well, one of the articles highlights something important,
What's that?
engaging with the relevant cultural communities
Yeah.
and their leaders
Makes sense they would have the most in-depth knowledge.
of those histories and traditions. Yeah.
They could offer guidance, insights, support.
As you navigate these complex waters,
I can see that.
think of it as building relationships,
Okay.
fostering trust,
Uh-huh.
and recognizing that this is a collaborative process.
So it's not about barging in and claiming a title,
No, not at all.
but about listening, learning,
Right.
understanding the nuances of these different cultures.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about respect.
It is.
And that's where the true value of this journey lies.
I think so too.
Not in the title itself,
Right.
but in the connections you make, the knowledge you gain, the understanding you develop along the way.
You said it perfectly.
I'm starting to see how this quest is bigger than just me.
How so?
It's about connecting with the past,
Mm-hmm.
honoring my ancestors,
Yes.
and potentially contributing to the future.
That's a powerful realization.
It is.
And it brings us to another important point.
Okay, what's that?
The difference between being royal and acting royal.
Interesting distinction. What do you mean by that?
Well, being royal might be about having a title or a bloodline.
Like what you're born into.
But acting royal is about embodying certain qualities.
What kinds of qualities?
Leadership integrity, compassion,
Oh.
a sense of responsibility towards others.
Those are all important,
And those qualities are accessible to anyone.
regardless of their lineage.
It's not about your bloodline.
It's not about the crown,
No.
but about the kind of person you choose to be.
That's it.
That choice is up to me.
It is.
I can choose to embrace those qualities of leadership and service.
Exactly.
Whether I end up claiming a royal title or not,
It's just your choice.
I'm starting to see things in a new light.
That's great.
This whole journey is less about the destination
Mhm.
and more about the journey itself.
The process of discovery.
Yeah, but let's be practical for a moment.
Okay.
If I do decide to pursue this further, what are some concrete steps I can take?
Good question. The articles suggest a multi-pronged approach.
Like what?
Well, first you mentioned DNA testing. That's a great starting point.
It is.
And some services let you connect with people who share your DNA.
Oh, wow.
Imagine discovering distant cousins who might have pieces of your family history puzzle.
That would be amazing.
It's not just about the raw data.
It's about using it to connect with living relatives,
Who could have valuable information?
like a whole network of potential collaborators in my ancestry investigation.
Precisely.
And then there are those historical records we talked about.
Right.
Birth certificates, marriage licenses, census dated church records.
All of that can help you trace your family tree back through the centuries.
So I'm combining DNA insights with traditional genealogical research.
Yes.
Maybe even connecting with distant cousins.
It's a comprehensive approach.
What else?
Well, remember how we talked about the importance of cultural understanding?
Yeah.
Engaging with the relevant communities and their leaders is crucial.
Makes sense. They would have the most in-depth knowledge of those histories and traditions.
Absolutely. They can offer guidance, insights,
Yeah.
support.
As I navigate this complex journey.
Think of it as building relationships,
Okay.
fostering trust, and recognizing that this is a collaborative process.
I'm starting to see the bigger picture here.
What do you mean?
It's not just about chasing a title.
No.
It's about understanding the weight of history,
Right.
the richness of culture, the responsibility that comes with potentially claiming a royal lineage.
That's a powerful insight, and honestly, it's what makes your story so compelling.
In what way?
You're not just seeking a crown.
There's more to it than that.
You're seeking meaning and connection.
And facing my fears along the way.
That's true.
I've been honest about my anxieties about all this.
You have.
And I know it's something a lot of listeners might relate to.
It's natural to feel apprehensive when faced with such significant possibilities.
What if I uncover something life-changing?
Yeah.
What if I'm not ready for the responsibility?
Those are valid concerns.
But the sources offer a comforting perspective.
Oh, how so?
They remind us that leadership isn't about having all the answers.
It's about more than that.
It's about being willing to learn, adapt, and grow.
That's a great point.
And I don't have to go through this alone.
You don't.
There are resources available, people who have walked similar paths.
Exactly.
They can offer guidance and support.
A community of sorts.
I'm starting to see how this fear can transform into something more empowering.
How so?
A sense of purpose,
Oh.
a clarity about why I'm on this journey, what I hope to achieve,
Yes.
how I can use my unique gifts and experiences to make a meaningful contribution.
It's about finding your own way.
It's not about the crown.
Right.
It's about claiming my own potential, regardless of the outcome.
That's beautifully put.
This journey is about self-discovery, connecting with my roots, and potentially shaping my future.
It's an incredible opportunity.
We've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from DNA tests and historical records.
To the emotional weight of this whole endeavor.
I feel like I have a roadmap
That's great.
and a renewed sense of purpose.
And remember, the most important discovery on this journey is the discovery of yourself.
That's a great note to end on.
It is.
To all our listeners out there.
Yes.
Whether you're on a quest for a royal title or simply exploring your own family history.
It's a fascinating journey.
Keep diving deep,
Keep asking questions,
and most importantly, embrace the journey.
because you never know what incredible treasures you might uncover along the way.